Oh. This is a 3-stage watch cleaner. Consists of one stage of 111. This is the best stuff you could buy. Doesn't matter what machine you use. Doesn't matter if it's not a Lennar. Personally, I use Elma Solvex and does wonders, honestly. Tried and tested, boys. 10 years. My father, probably 30 when they started introducing Swiss products into Argentina. The next 2 stages. Number 3. I'm gonna do this for about 45 minutes, an hour almost. This watch is really dirty. I had probably never been overhauled. And let's go ahead and take off the bezel. Now, it's for mostly waterproof purposes. And I mean, it is, after all, a sport Rolex, a diver's watch. We do expect it to get in the water. So we are going to take necessary measures to ensure our client can do that. I honestly like using the knife, but I found that this machine does work good. And as you see, we have a little bit of separation there. Now, I know my clients, unfortunately, and this guy polishes his watches. Let's not even go into it. Thank God that the ring didn't come off with the bezel. I just fixed a tutor for him, and it did stay. Anyway, this is the click spring. This will go under that. That's the tension ring. The click spring will interact with the bezel. And wow, this is disgusting, but whatever. Disgusting. Anyway, so there's a couple ways to do this part, but I'm gonna show you my way, because my way, I've never damaged the bezel. Now, I see a lot of people doing this. See a lot of people doing this, this is not working, okay? You're gonna bend the shit out of it. And I've got it many times, so look. Pro tip. Come over here. Very, very gently. You're gonna push the edge. Make sure that you have a very, very nice edge. This is not the best, but hey, it's gonna work. And I'm not gonna damage it a bit for reference. Let's look at it. It's nice. It's not perfect. But your mom's 40 years old and I'm sure she's beautiful. So anyways. Pro tip, guys, pro tip. It's very, very, it's almost nothing. Now, this is for waterproof purposes next. Thankfully, my client did change the crystal ring because he is a watchmaker himself. And he also polished the watch. Not the best polish, but I mean, man, it makes it happen, man. I don't want to talk about it. In the future, I'm going to talk a lot more about the industry. As is, I can't talk much. But soon, you'll realize that it's not all peaches and cream. And we are just gonna ultrasonic this a little bit. I mean, client actually did a good job steaming it. I guess he figured he could take it light on me this time. Be back soon, 45 minutes. This is our floor. And that's where we do most of our work at. Well, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be servicing a Rolex 3135. It's actually a watch that's very near and dear to me, because it's the one that taught me the most about watchmaking. Well, not caliber. There's a dial. So I want to take this time to go over a little history about the history of our company. We have our roots back in Argentina. Everything started off with my grandfather, who taught my father pretty much everything he knows about well, the basics. He actually left my father to fend for himself and learn everything on his own. Well, we're not gonna talk about that. And actually, before we start, we're gonna handle a couple things here. We're gonna epilame these parts. Epilame is well, this is for another watch, actually, caliber rather. That's an ETA lubricant, and we don't use that for Rolex. Here we're going to dip these in. Purpose of this epilame is so all the lubricants which we're going to apply stay where they're supposed to. also going to take the time out to apply epilame on these parts, which is the escape wheel, pallet fork, mainly the jewels. We don't want to catch the pivots on either of these parts, as they're part of the train bridge and it might be detrimental to the amplitude. We might lose about 5 or 6 degrees, which might result in maybe an hour or two of loss of power reserve, but normally that wouldn't be an issue. But we are trying to get the watches to work as best as we possibly can. So here I have the epilame applied onto this brush. I'm going to apply it on this escape wheel. Careful not to get the pivots wet in any way. And we are going to dry it in about a second. You'll see that now. Here we're drying it. For a second, we're going to remove these parts. Just want to submerge a little bit more. Use the puffer on this one. Actually, this isn't even my puffer, so I'm gonna leave that alone because mine's actually broke the other day. That other puffer doesn't seem to be working either, so I'm gonna keep using compressed air, which is a pretty expensive way to do this, but nonetheless, only the best for our clients. And for example, you can't use that puffer anymore. I'm not sure why my colleague has that puffer. He works on his own account. He must have his own reasons. He rents a... I mean, you can't imagine why he does that, but whatever. He has been with my father for a couple years now. But like I said, everybody works how they want to work. And I shouldn't have tried to borrow his tool anyway. I'll buy a puffer over tomorrow at the supply. Thankfully, they're pretty cheap. They're almost as cheap as this entire bottle that I'm using here of compressed air. I also have to be a lot more careful with the compressed air as to not shake it. But same end result at the end of the day. is ground down. So this is a slower beat watch. It'll take a while to pick up, and you'll see a little bit of variation on the beat error. That's because this is a 60-year-old watch, mind you. But you see now she's smoothing out. Had this oscillation been like the Rolex 3135, which we're about to do right now, that rate would have adjusted much quicker. But as you see, either way, she's balancing out. More importantly, amplitude, amplitude, amplitude. We have 254 with the crown down in the vertical, I would say vertical position for the balance. And she's still going strong, so we're real proud of how she's working. 4 seconds even. And I'd reckon to say she's gonna go to 3. Again, when you're moving your wrist around, like for example, you probably never wear your watch how it was just now, but this is more rational, you'll see. So you go back and forth, back and forth. This watch is gonna keep great time. And now we are going to install the mainspring. This is actually what you are winding when you wind your watch. Along with a set of other wheels. It works with keyless works to bring power to the watch. We are now applying brake grease, which actually isn't a lubricant. It's a rather sticky paste, which keeps the watch from slipping when fully wound too early, causing problems with amplitude. We certainly can't afford that. Now, this next part is a little bit controversial. Everybody, like I said, everybody works different. Some people might not agree that you should oil mainspring. I know all mainsprings should be coated with Teflon, all the new ones. But a little oil never seemed to have cause any issue with me, for me, as far as I have observed. At least we always had a success with our technique. You'll see a lot of watchmakers work different. Heck, if you become a watchmaker, even if you go to a school and you learn the way that they fix their watches, you might end up with a completely different technique. Let me say that. What matters is that it works for you and that you're comfortable with the way it's worked. Like, not comfortable, but that you work good. And you do want to be comfortable, honestly. Huh. Say hiccup. Actually, it was just the top. No dirt anywhere. So, now, this is the way I do it. You might have people who do it different than me. But I like to use a screwdriver and observe right where the barrel would meet the right where the barrel would meet this part of the mainspring, which is the part that slips. And we shouldn't let it go. First, you'll want to make sure it's in. Again, this is a part that's under a lot and a lot of tension, so make sure that you get it right. She seems to be in. That's what she said. And right about here, we will be dropping this mainspring. Not sure if you guys can see. We'll work on better angles in the future. There you go. She's in, and she's a little up, but at the end of the day, we were able to solve it. And she's in all the way. Just want to make sure everything is inside, and she's a go. Back to our history. So my dad came here in about 2001 with about $100 in his pocket. He had a little bit of trouble finding work due to the fact that he couldn't speak English. But he ended up making it work. As you see, we're here. I've been here for about 20 years. Been on my journey for about 13 of those. A lot of those years spent working on Rolex watches. I consider myself very blessed to be able to. We're going to be lubricating right here where the barrel meets. Where the barrel meets this arbor. This arbor is going to work with the ratchet wheel. Now, this part, again, people might not agree with how I'm doing it, but this is the way that I do it. The way I've always felt comfortable. I've never had an issue doing like this. Bang. Now, we just gotta move it a little bit. Get the clip in. As you see, we got her in. In a second, while I move to my other station, where I have my barrel lid closer. I don't have a lot of space here, so. Sure it's off. Well, that will conclude the real-time what would you call commentary. The rest of this will be done on a voiceover. Just want to get through those steps with you, and we will be back shortly. So I actually just spent the last hour voiceovering this same video, but during editing, I guess it just poofed. I'm not sure. I'm still figuring this out. Anyway, so we've lined up the train bridge, and God is good. So I'm sure this commentary is gonna come out 10 times better. Keep in mind we're still learning. Keep in mind this is unscripted, but let me guide you the best I can. We installed the train bridge already. As you see, we lined everything up very nice. These Rolexes, it's a lot easier to line up that train bridge. But it took years for me to get to that level. I mean, it's also a risky thing, especially on a Rolex where every wheel costs $100. You're a new watchmaker, don't take that lightly. I mean, even on an ETA 2892, that would have been a lot more difficult, which is also going to be our next video, by the way. Stay tuned. To add to a 2761 in a tutor. You'll see this next part. I'm installing the winding bridge, which I already lubricated in the video where it cut off, but we use Monaco on the crown wheel. Anyway, we're erroneously going to install the hacking for this caliber just because I thought I could do it now, but you can't. I usually don't take apart the keyless works, but this watch was filthy and required it. Normally you don't have to take off the keyless works. There is certain parts of the keyless works where you'll have to remove, but the setting lever, you normally don't have to remove that. One thing you do have to do if you're not going to lubricate the setting lever, not going to remove the setting lever, you at least have to lubricate the tube, which depresses and allows you to take off the crown. After a couple decades, what I've seen is when people start changing dials, for whatever reason they want to change a dial, they just love changing dials. You don't lubricate that between services, and if you don't have your watch services, that thing will literally shoot up into the sky. You'll never find it again. Even though you could rivet it back, it'll never be the same. It also takes a bit of solder. Lubricate that. You'll have no issues. The next two parts we're going to install are also part of the keyless works. I guess you could call them setting levers. I don't know what you would call it. I guess you would call them yokes. They work with the setting lever to allow you to change the phases, the setting phases, like the winding, the quick set, and also the timing of the watch. Here we are lubricating the crown with a 9501. We just closed up the anchor block. I'm not sure how, but it opened up during the cleaning process. Thankfully, it didn't get bent. You do have to watch out for that. Those things bend easily, and when they bend, you'll want to replace them. Thankfully, they're not too expensive. They're not even made by Rolex. Those are actually made by KIF. KIF. They're a brand. They're a company which makes all the shock springs for various companies. That one is called the Elastor. Rolex now uses their own, I believe, which is called Paraflex, which they developed. And let me tell you something. Paraflex is no better than using the keep spring. Rolex won't tell you that, but I will. Paraflex ain't shit. Matter of fact, I've seen more balance that breaks with Paraflex than I've ever seen with a keep spring. Because the keep spring, when the watch has a shock, the keep spring will go up. Well, I've seen shocks on a 32, 35 with Paraflex, even 31, 35s with Paraflex. And guess what? The balance staff broke because the keep spring never jumped up. But Rolex will tell you that. Because Rolex is perfect. Anyway, here we are installing more of the keyless works. That's also gonna facilitate. If you think that's the yoke, I'm gonna go figure out those names of those two parts for you later on. But again, names are necessary. You gotta understand functions. That's why a lot of people come out of school with a bunch of technical knowledge, but you put a watch in front of them and that shit goes out the fucking window. Also, you'll see I installed that spring early in the video. I see a lot of you guys using these 31, 35s. You don't lubricate that. Well, that's why your client has issues pulling out the crown later. And you especially got to do that on the 3185. I see that happening a lot on the 3185s. Here we're installing the hacking again because we couldn't install it good with due to the setting lever. Here's my favorite part. We're going to install the, make sure we're going to lubricate. And this is why I kind of wanted to do the commentary actively, but couldn't. We're using HP 1300 for the barrel arbor, HP 1000 for the great and third wheel, and then 9010 for the second wheel. You could probably get away with using 1300 on the third and the great wheel, but I like using 1000. It gives me the best results. You have to use 9010 on the second wheel. I see some people using 9020. I've never used 9020, but the watchmakers I see are pretty good. I can't speak for how long they make their watches last, but I'm getting 5 years out of this caliber, sometimes 10. As long as the rotor is good, I keep the watch running the way I'm able to lubricate, so I'm happy with that. If you're a watchmaker and you went to school or you were under somebody, maybe you're starting out, just understand everybody works different. As long as you have good practice, you don't break stuff, your oils don't run off, and your watches, most importantly, your watches last long when your clients are happy. Keep doing what you're doing. Always improve, look for ways to improve, but don't get too stuck on somebody else's technique, not even mine. Do what's good for you. Making sure you're using minimal amounts of oil. Not minimal, but the minimum you can. I mean, these watches have very low tolerances for oil. Actually, this watch has a pretty high tolerance for oil, but if you get into ETAs and other finer watches, well, ETA is not a finer watch, but that watch, if you over lubricate it, forget about it. You'll have a host of issues. Right here we are installing the intermediate. Well, this is the wigwag pinion. We've already installed the intermediate crown wheel, where we used HP 1000. No, we didn't use HP 1000. I'm crazy. I'm sorry. We used Molykote. Here we're using 9504 for where the wigwag is gonna meet with the sombrero. I guess you'd call that a sombrero. The seat. Yeah. Again, this is the way I work. After years and years and years, I developed that technique of using 9501 and Molykote together. We're here. We're checking the recoil, making sure everything's clean. You see, we have a strong recoil. And recoil means that the power of the watch snaps back. It means everything is fluid and smooth. You'll see it. The watch is, the wheels are just going back. You also want to make sure that they're good in the vertical positions, just to make sure all the pinions are. Ideally, you would do it without lubricant, but I think I did do it in the beginning stages. But, I didn't have the ratchet on. But either way, you have recoil. Recoil is good. Try to do it without lubricant. If you have lubricant on and it's still good, well, you're golden. Normally, you want to do it without lubricant to make sure that it's recoiling before you start lubricating everything. But you do need to watch the recoil. I just installed the pallet fork, by the way. This is the anchor blocks. Make sure they're clean. They are going. And install the two anchor blocks. These anchor blocks, it's 1/3. You use 1/3 because you, due to the centrifugal forces, this 9010 is very viscous. You put too much, it'll go off to the side and run off, and you'll have issues with amplitude, such and such. We're installing the balance. Make sure everything is flat. There we go, it's already running. I'm gonna install the anchor block in a bit. Make sure everything's seated good. Don't take this part lightly. If you're a new watchmaker, you're not going to be able to change the balance staff. It probably take you a long time to fix the balance staff. Even on in this caliber, even if you're a trained watchmaker, you might have issues changing that balance staff. I mean, it's a very weird balance. You can't have it flat. You have to have it suspended. A lot of people are used to changing balance staffs on older watches, and most of them are all flat. They were winding it. And we're just going to put the watch on the time grapher, make sure everything's good, amplitude is strong. And while we install the automatic, we also are going to let the pallet fork and the escape wheel run for about 10 to 15 minutes without any oil. You could probably get away with 5. Actually, it's 5 minutes on 28,800. And then you want to spend about 10 minutes on anything like 19,800, even 21,400 BPH. You'll still want to let it run for 10 minutes dry, just to make sure that layer of epilame on where they meet contact, they'll make like a little cut. If I get a better microscope set up, I'll show you the cut. But if you're a watchmaker, listen to what I'm saying. Let it run dry, and to see the cut, that cut is going to allow for when you use the 9514, the pallet wheel grease, it will allow it to just stay there and not run off at all. We are lubricating the automatic. We're also going to lubricate the top. I literally just did this for the video. I'll see that in a bit, but usually you would lubricate the top of the automatic. Here we're just cleaning a little bit of the jewel with raw to go. Ideally, you don't want to do this, but it happens. I mean, you get a smidge to the side. I'm used to working for service centers. I probably gotta go away with leaving it there, but people look at my stuff under a microscope, and I gotta make sure that they're seeing good things. That's even if they even take it apart, but most of the people, they don't take it. They're never going to take it apart, but once the watch comes back on, I make sure that they know I did the best job possible. So as we go on, the next part is going to be me lubricating the pallet fork. And keep in mind, everybody lubricates their pellet for differently. I like to do it from the way I'm doing it, but a lot of people do it from the balance side. You even see me transitioning into applying some of the pellet wheel grease. So I decided to do this part top side where the balance is. But anyway, let me go to the voiceover on the video. As you see, we have the watch stopped. Here we have 9415. And what you want to do is put it in a cup and make sure you're getting the grease, not the liquid part. You only want just a tiny smidge, and you'll see now how I overlap. There you go. Not quite enough. Again, it is tiny amounts, but still matter. Make sure it's enough. It does have to last for the next 5 years. Keep that in mind. And here it is, all exposed. And this is a very delicate process. You don't want to graze that jewel way too hard. Now you'll see we have it. Now we're to do the other jewel. Use this other better. Again, you have to do it in a way that you're more comfortable with. The very tip of the escape wheel is the only place where the grease should be at. There should be absolutely no runoff to the inside, and the epilame should be keeping it right on the tips. See if we get a little bit more light, I can show you better. Oh, that's better. So, this is the calendar, and the rest of the keyless works. Most of this is Molly code for the minute, Molly code for the 2 setting, 9501 for the minute, the cannon pinion, Molly code for the calendar, 9501 for the calendar yoke, as well as the jewel, HP 1000 for the pinion under the setting lever bridge. You'll see me lubricating a bit. Get to that now once I install lubricant for the cannon pinion. This is the way I install the cannon pinion. I know a lot of people probably install it differently. This is the best way for me. It's the most comfortable. So I use the tweezers parallel. That's it. Make sure it's good tension. Install the minute pinion, minute wheel. So here we are, HP 1000. You please lubricate that. You guys aren't lubricating it, and that's why your setting wheels are breaking. That's exactly the reason. That's why the first one breaks. That's why the first one breaks, and then it'll break the second one because you guys keep dragging it. If you don't lubricate that, your watches are coming back in within a year, and you have to change the setting wheels again. And there's 2 of them. Guys, be considerate. Like, not every watch that you get is going to come back to you. It might come back to another guy, and the customer has to pay a second repair, and then your client looks at you like a dick because they get an angry call from the client who, you didn't get the watch to last a year, man. Come on. Even though you're just meeting, I know some watchmakers who literally work just for the watch to last that year. Yo, that is disgusting. Please stop doing that. You're way better than that. This is an art. It's treated like one. We're very blessed to work on these watches. Even if you aren't getting paid what you should be getting paid, as long as you work hard. Heck, I don't even get paid what I'm supposed to get paid. Be honest with you. But I'm going to keep working hard. That doesn't mean I'm going to do a shitty job and the end user is going to get a bad watch back because you're not getting paid right, bro. No, don't. An overhaul should not be lasting a year on this watch. It should be lasting at least 5. You guys can't even get a 1570 to run for 6 months. It's disgusting. You guys aren't even using epilame. Not you guys, but the certain watchmakers. Hey man, and even if you're one of those guys, man, fuck you. You're bogging down the industry. So let me go back to being professional. You're installing the nail for the calendar. Some of you guys need to understand, not you guys that are watchmakers, but on certain calibers, because that nail is there, and I guess that nail will be there between the times of 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. ish. If you use the quick set between those times, you're literally driving that nail forward and forward and forward and forward. Thankfully, this watch has an escape for that with the heart that the calendar wheel has. A lot of watches, you can't get away with that. Also, a lot of you watchmakers, you're not lubricating this part of the watch. Rolex tells you to do it for a reason. If you don't lubricate that, when you get the date change twice, and it happens in the course of 48 hours 2 times, and remember, your watch is supposed to last 48 hours, though that's the reason why your watch is only lasting 39 to 40 hours. You think it's not a big deal? Brother, it's a big deal. Please, bro, these watches are so small. Did you think that even a little smidge of lubrication not being where it's supposed to be isn't going to cause an issue? Please, brother, please. I can keep being professional. Sorry. This is the calendar wheel bridge. And as we wrap this up, I want to thank you guys for staying this long. Remember, this is all unscripted, so if I made a couple mistakes on the voiceover, please excuse them. Future videos will be more narrated. I want to hear you guys' opinions. If you guys need any tips, we'll be doing a lot of these watches. This probably want to be the most common caliber you're going to see. For example, I want to have a date just where I'm going to do in a bit. But I'm also going to waterproof this watch in a bit. You'll see that. But let me leave off the rest of this video with some music, because I'm already getting into my mood from, dealing with the industry and other watchmakers. The business is tough right now. That's all I want you to know. Later on, I'll get into it. I'm sure you heard Matthew. Well, Matthew's not a professional watchmaker, but Chronoglide. If you heard Chronoglide, you'll know that the industry isn't doing too good. Anybody could be a watchmaker nowadays. Here we are, lubricating the automatic wheel. And we're almost done, guys. So, the rest of it is pretty much going to be me casing up, sealing the case tube. And again, thank you guys for checking me out. If there's any tips, let me know. 9504 for the axle, HP 1000 for the Ruby. You could probably get away with just putting HP 1000 on the Ruby, but when you get paid for the job, you better do it the best way possible. Anyway, we're gonna install the calendar. You need to lubricate the edges, 9501. If you don't, again, your date change will eat up 3 or 4 hours of your power reserve. Well, let me leave you guys with a nice song. If you're gonna ask why I didn't install the dial in this video, it's still setting up my hand install station in a way where I could record it. Due to where it's set up right now, I just can't do it. But future videos will include a hand installation. And also, you do want to lubricate the teeth of the calendar wheel. Not too much, because remember, you can't really clean that part. You just have to use a little bit of Rolex, and that's it. That's all you get. And make sure it doesn't run off, because if it run off, it'll be visible. 9501, thankfully, when using small amounts, it does not run off. Here we're going to install some new gaskets. If any of you watchmakers need to find out where you get these gaskets, just let me know. If you want to check out Star Time Supply, also we're using UT18. It's the best stuff you can buy. I really do recommend that if you're a watchmaker, stop using the silicone, get the UT18. It's well worth it. I know it's a little expensive, but you'll get a good use out of it. Also, these subs do take 2 crown gaskets due to the trip block system. It's actually 4 gaskets. Oh, 5 in total if you count the crown tube gasket. Lubricating. Greasing. This is actually UT18 is more of a grease. Now, let me leave you guys to some music while you watch this. puede ser que ella haga con otro lugar así, no puede ser. Ella no puede ser, no, así, por favor, que no te hago así.